Hey everybody, welcome back to Backlog Banter. I'm your boy Abram, joined as usual by my Pikmin exploring buddy, Tucker Hazel, and we are here today to share some thoughts about Pikmin Bloom, some of your thoughts, and answer the fundamental question, is Pikmin Bloom better than Pokemon Go? But before we do, I want to note a couple things as we usually do at the top of these videos, but I want to say in particular today, this video includes a lot of comments that we solicited from you guys in our Discord. So if you want to chat with us about anything at all and be featured in videos, be sure to join that Discord link as usual, top of the description only down there. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell, because if you do, we might just make you another Pikmin Bloom video. But even if we don't, we post content here almost every day, gaming, film content, so you don't want to miss it.
Except for last week.
But Tucker,
hi.
Pikmin Bloom. We've both been playing it for various periods of time. I was hit with the fucking death plague, so I didn't leave bed for like a week. So you've played more than I have, but I played for about a consistent week before I was brought to the brink of my own mortality. So from your perspective, high level, before we introduce anyone else's thoughts, even my own, what do you think about Pikmin Bloom, and what do you think about this comparison people are drawing between it and Pokemon Go?
This comparison, I would say, is surprisingly apt. Now, we framed this video around this question, but the inevitable conclusion is they're different experiences, play them for different reasons. They have different goals in mind. But the comparison is still apt because they're based around the same, literally the same map, the same engine and all of that stuff. And there are similar mechanics in terms of collecting and walking over time and sending gifts to your friends, whatever.
Yes.
I don't think this is better than Pokemon Go in almost any way, shape, or form. But I'm interested to hear community's thoughts and sort of spin our own thoughts off of those, because this is not focused on our thoughts in the game.
Yeah. So I'll share mine, and then we'll hop into these comments. We'll use those as a way to generate some discussion about various points. But I'm in a very similar boat to you. This is not Pikmin Bloom is not a video game.
Yeah.
In the way that Pokemon Go is. It is a lifestyle app. It's a glorified step counter in a lot of ways. And I think that's totally fine. It is an application opposed to an AR game. And I think that where Pikmin Bloom misses for me is that it very much could have been still that, but more gamified in some elements I want to discuss that are just blatantly not there. But in the context of giving me motivation to go back on runs more frequently, to walk around my campus more. It is really fun to just passively collect Pikmin and take fun AR photos and get the postcards from friends and from my own environment. So I think there's a lot to like here, but I just think that the game could have and probably should have been more, considering that we have Niantic and Nintendo resources behind it.
Yes, that I came up with a sort of thesis statement that I'm trying to remember in my mind. Yesterday I was driving around. I'm thinking, we're gonna be talking about Pikmin Bloom tomorrow. How am I gonna sort of frame this? And what I came up with is the game knows what it is.
Yes,
but I don't think it should be what it is.
That's fantastic.
It does what it set out to do, but I don't think that's the best way I don't think that's the way this game should have gone from the start.
Yeah, I mean, what's interesting is I don't even really know why Pikmin was chosen for an AR game like this, because the thing about it is the core Pokemon games are about collecting Pokemon.
Yeah, and community.
Yeah, so even before, because I really haven't played Pokemon Go consistently, honestly, since Johto Pokemon were added. So basically, when the game was nothing compared to what it is now, it was still fun for me, even when the game
Considering now we've got Wooloo, Squavit, and Phalanx.
That's a great point. But I didn't need battling, I didn't need trading, I didn't need anything, because the core success of the Pokemon games for me was catching Pokemon and building up my Pokedex. So same thing here. I'd walk around my town and just get a Pokemon, and that was so exciting. The core Pikmin formula isn't really about that. There's 7 types of Pikmin or something like that. You can only pick a red Pikmin so many times and be impressed by it. The Pikmin games are about they are more about their core gameplay of going out and exploring and fighting enemies and gathering treasure and such. And this game has that in the most cursory sense, but not really. So let's delve into it based on what our friends in the Discord have been saying.
Everyone calm down, take a deep breath. It's your turn.
Deep breath.
I'm talking to the audience.
Yes. Our first comment here comes from our friend Morgan the Moose, who says, I'm annoyed at some of these long times for expeditions, been super all over the place, and these take so long. Now, I think this is a good place to start because it kind of speaks to what I was just saying. The expeditions are basically, from how far I got into the game, I think I'm level 13.
I'm level 15, I think.
The expeditions were the most gamified element of this, and what is most similar to the core Pikmin games in the sense of we're going to send Pikmin out to go collect something and bring it back. But that's basically all expeditions are.
It boils down to you going, I want my Pikmin to go here. I'll have these Pikmin go. Doesn't really matter which Pikmin you choose. They're all functionally identical.
Yeah.
Have fun. And then they come back with a thing that gives you nectar. Yup. I think that's probably one of my biggest, most underwhelming moments with the game. Is because there could be easily just a tiny bit of nuance there that doesn't make it, a huge amount more gamey, but would reflect the Pikmin series a little better if there were certain items that only certain kinds of Pikmin could select, if you got a bonus for sending a group of all the same kind of Pikmin or something, just tiny little boosts and nuances that allow this system to feel more like the actual Pikmin series rather than arbitrary. Doesn't matter which Pikmin you choose, it's going to take the same amount of time, whatever.
Well, yeah, I mean, because you can send out a purple Pikmin and that counts for 5 Pikmin because they're stronger, but that's about as far as it goes in my experience. I don't have wing Pikmin yet, which I'd assume is also going to modify that. But the thing about it is, the Pikmin, a lot of the core 3 Pikmin, red, blue, and yellow, their abilities in the core games are predicated on the environment.
Yes.
The red ones can be in fire, the blue ones can go underwater, and the yellow ones can conduct electricity. In the context of an AR game where you can't design a map that intricately, because basically Pikmin is like a bunch of puzzle boxes.
Yes.
But you can't do that here. So ultimately,
very designed puzzle environments.
Yeah. You can't really do that here because you're gonna send kids into the middle of the fucking lake with their blue Pikmin to go pick up I don't know, a water chestnut that's in the riverbed. That's not going to work.
It is an expedition. You don't have to go into the water to send the Pikmin there to do it. So.
I wish that's what the game could be, but ultimately it's they don't have the resources to fucking individually place items across the entire continental world, right? And because of that, it ends up feeling a little bit simple in the sense that, they're just items scattered around. You can go send out your Pikmin. And I think it speaks to sort of the passivity of the experience. And what I did like doing was, I'm sitting down for lunch. I'm sitting down to study for a little bit. I'm just looking at my expeditions, send out my Pikmin. They're going to come back. It kind of contributes to that overall feeling of, this is just a passive lifestyle app.
Yeah.
But at the same
Pikmin
time,
do the work for you, like the game, which is
like the game.
One thing I can say about this is it does reflect the game series in that way. Is your Pikmin are for the most part autonomous. I mean, you send them very briefly to do something, whether that is attacking a mushroom, going on an expedition, doesn't matter what any of them. And then they do it on their own, and they come back to you, and you're like,
yeah. So it works. It fits this sort of Pokewalker-esque play as you live your life type of experience. But as you're saying, it could be more than that.
Yeah, and I think the thing we actually really didn't talk about the problem that Morgan was having with this is the expeditions are a little bit wonky. They're a little bit finicky. If you send your Pikmin on an expedition and physically go the other way, your Pikmin take that amount of time to get back to you because they have to travel that physical distance to get
an interesting idea.
Yeah, an interesting idea, and especially for people who live in the countryside and expeditions, I think, are mostly predicated around there being activity in an area. Your Pikmin might take multiple days to come there and come back to give you 10 nectar. I don't know. There is an imbalance there that is not impossible to iron out, but can make the experience very different for for people in different locations.
Yeah, I mean, I'm playing here on my campus, so
it's not an issue for me either.
Yeah, an expedition doesn't take more than literally 5 minutes. But the thing of it is, I live in rural Maine, so when I went back home, I basically could not play Pokemon Go unless I put an incense down, right, when I was at home. And I think it's the same thing here. Niantic's algorithm for how these maps are generated just does not favor non-urbanized areas, which I think is just a larger issue. You want to take the next comment?
Oh, I would love nothing more. This comes from Pontuza, who says it's a really cool game, but it's much more of a step counter than a game at the end of the day. Unlike Pokemon Go, which is much more interactive while you're out. I think it's cool that you never have to go to Pokestops in Blue. It looks like so far it doesn't matter if you don't have those close to you. Also, if that is the case, then we don't have the gym problem where low-level players can't play the game because of high-level players.
Yeah, I mean, I agree in large part. A lot of that is my sentiment, but also we don't have the gym problem because there is no analog here in terms of interactivity.
The closest analog is what I actually just unlocked yesterday, which is the battles. You throw your Pikmin at mushrooms. But what I discovered is that it is really those are designed for you to have multiple people playing with you.
Sure.
And if you're playing by yourself, my Pikmin could still be out there fighting the big ass mushroom that I sent them on. I mean, it was taking hours and hours because I can only send 10 Pikmin or something, and this is a 75,000 HP mushroom, and my guys are just doing little chip damage over time. And because this game doesn't really allow a lot of ways for you to actively connect with other players, I don't even know how I would find a group to go attack a big mushroom with, or what the real benefits would be for having a group and getting a higher star rating. Who knows?
Let me hop over to the next comment here from Kevy27, who says, I personally have really been enjoying this game. I think it's just what a lot of people needed to get up and go for a walk. It doesn't have the most in-depth gameplay as of right now, but I think all of that is likely to change in the coming weeks or months. Some of my most wanted inclusions will be random enemies to spawn for you to fight and unique tasks for each type of Pikmin to help diversify the roster of the Pikmin in the game.
100%. I mean, I think he nails it. One thing I do think that we sort of touched on, but he says here is that this is really just for motivating people to walk. And for that purpose, it has gotten me to go on walks more than I have in the past month.
Yeah.
So it does serve that purpose, but there is the greater issue of, after 3 or 4 days, the luster really does wear off. Like I've found myself just doing it to see what's next because I want to talk about the game, not because I'm actively interested in continuing the experience. And also I'm not particularly convinced that this game's going to get major updates, especially because it is so light at the beginning. I don't know if I see this really being supported, though it could. But that's really a hypothetical that I'm not really laying my laurels on.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
that's an Abram's sister reference.
That's a great point. That's a weird point, but an apt one. I agree. I don't see this game getting majorly supported. I mean, it doesn't. Even the videos from Niantic or Nintendo Mobile, wherever, they don't do huge numbers. Tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of views, but it's fractional compared to Pokemon Go, and that's where the revenue is going to be driven and everything, right? So ultimately, I don't know. I don't know about the support angle, but I agree that it's been a good motivator for me, right? And actually, my mom has said that she wants to play Pikmin Bloom. She wants me to show her how to download it when she gets back because she's always liked the Pikmin. She loves gardening, she loves nature and everything. So I think this is a textbook piece of Nintendo Blue Ocean software.
Sure.
But
I think there's a disconnect there that I think is a little bit awkward.
Well, I think it's textbook Blue Ocean in the sense of your big brain academies, the brain ages or whatever of this has a very, or like the fucking cookbook games you could get for the DS or whatever that just turn your DS into a book.
That's a good point.
This serves a very particular lifestyle function, but doesn't have the crossover of some of Nintendo's more gamified Blue Ocean stuff, like your Wii Fits and your your Ring Fit Adventures and things like that. So
how gamified is Wii Fit? I never played Wii Fit.
Wii Fit,
is that even true?
Yeah, I mean, I played Wii Fit a lot when I was a kid, just because the mini games were fun.
All right, head over to the next one.
The next one comes from a Darkwing 007, which is a great name, by the way.
Yeah, I like 7 out of
10. I like Pikmin Bloom. It gets more game-like the higher you get your level. Something that might be fun to talk about or demonstrate on a video could be maximizing flower output by maintaining 10 kilometers per hour or 8 miles per hour. When I start a flower walk, it's something like, with this many petals, you can plant 1,000 flowers. However, after 30 minutes, I have barely planted around 300. Now, this is an interesting point to raise. actually, because the hinge of the game in terms of earning coins in the game's economy and actually growing the Pokestops, which are just big flowers, involves planting flowers of your own, little ones. You do that by accumulating petals and planting those petals by walking about. And based on how many flowers you plant, you get coins to be spent in the shop on various things.
Well, no, you get
That's
coin.
the point. That's what I wanted to get to.
Yes.
Because we've
gotten so many comments on that on our 15,000 view video about how do you get coins? I'm really not getting many coins.
You basically
what are the coins for? And that's not a function I think necessarily our video being big, but with your limited experience with the game at that point, it was hard to tell that the amount of coins you would be getting would be so ridiculously minuscule, like unnecessarily minuscule. Yeah, exactly. You did.
I was playing before release. So Tucker, what's the problem? Tell me.
The problem is that not only do you get, I think it's either 500, a coin for every 500 or 1,000 flowers planted. It's not explicitly stated in the game, which is already weird, but also that planting flowers is hit or miss. I've discovered if I'm walking around on campus, which by the way, lots of people on UNL campus playing Pikmin Blue. My campus is covered in flowers. No idea why. It's crazy. I always turn on with others thing, but I never see another player. But if you're walking in an area that already has flowers in it, sometimes just flowers won't plant, which kind of seems counterintuitive to the continuously building the garden things. Like, okay, well, I guess I got to go somewhere else to do this. But those two elements converge to make it pretty difficult, especially if you're in an area where a lot of flowers have already been planted, to get coins. Not that I'm absolutely jonesing to get coins in the first place, because the shop is pretty weak. I think kind of reflects a lot of the issues with this game, is everything sort of funnels down to getting nectar, which gets you petals, which plants you flowers, which gets you nectar. Like it's already a self-perpetuating cycle that isn't very deep anyway, but the shop is just a way to speed that up if you want to, but I don't really want to. I'm not really excited to spend coins, I guess. There's not like an upgrade or a thing that I'm looking forward to buying.
Yeah, no, that I agree completely. I went for a 30-minute run and did, I don't know how many miles. I think it's like not very many, like 3.5 miles or whatever. But in doing that, I planted just under 2,000 flowers. That's how many coins I received. 2 coins. And now 1 coin does not hold value in the economy.
Almost at all.
Let's just be categorical.
It's like a penny. It's like a cent.
Yeah, it literally holds no value. So it's not even like having 1 or 2 coins is a big deal. It's not. Everything costs like 50 coins or more in the store.
Minimum, yes.
But the difference between this store and Pokemon Go store, as you were just saying, is that I don't give a fuck about anything in this store.
Yeah.
I need more. Okay, I can buy more petals. I could, but I'll just wait. That's fine.
Also, the thing is, I have almost full petals on all of my petal containers. The one thing that is actually somewhat useful, quote unquote, is there are upgrades to, I think, your incubators, to the amount of Pikmin you can hold, to the amount of petals you can hold in your jars. That's about the most interesting thing that I would be like looking for. But like, I don't feel like I need more petals. 200 petals is a lot. That's 200 minutes worth of walking and planting flowers.
That it's tough.
Yeah.
And the thing about it is, there's no urgency to have more. I spent, when Pokemon Go came out, I was traveling around like the Midwest United States with my family. And so I spent like $40 on Pokeballs because there was a pressing urge for me to want to catch the Pokemon that I'm seeing. Yes. Because otherwise I might not ever get them again. Because when am I gonna be back in like fucking Utah, right? You know, so
hopefully never, right? Am I
hopefully
right?
Never. Fingers crossed. So that I was like, I need to spend money on these Pokeballs so I can catch these Pokemon and build up my collection. Here it's like, I don't really need more petals. There's nothing.
Yeah,
nothing,
I got petals. I got
nothing,
Pikmin.
Nothing pressing is going to happen, you know? So ultimately, I'm not sure if that's the fault of the economy or if it's a good thing that you don't feel pressure to spend money. I don't know.
Sure. No, yeah. But I feel like it's a symptom of, as I was saying, the sort of game design philosophy that this game has and its own gameplay loop being so shallow that the shop makes sense. I mean, like, knowing mobile games, it makes sense that this is the stuff that you would spend your money on to speed up that process. But this game has approximately half of a degree of a difficulty curve, as the That doesn't make any sense.
It's
But
a shallow incline.
yeah, exactly. So the shop reflects that. I mean,
Yes.
honestly. All right, final comment of the day.
Our homeboy himself.
Our final comment of the day comes from Monkey Balls in the server, who says, I'm loving Pikmin Bloom. I think it's a really creative game because you wouldn't expect a Pokemon Go type game to be that good. But I would say Pikmin Bloom reaches those expectations. Now, I'm very glad that you're enjoying this. I'm a little bit confused on if you're referring to Pokemon Go being better than what you expected, but also you say that Pikmin Bloom is surpassing your expectations. And I'm going to be honest, I don't know what your expectations were, but this really does not hit my expectations personally.
Well, I mean, I believe what he's saying is that Pikmin Bloom for him is on par with Pokemon Go.
Sure.
Which is a very interesting take. And I mean, anecdotally, we've seen a lot of buzz about Pikmin Bloom, right? We've got people in our Discord server who are making spreadsheets of the level up rewards and are doing crazy numbers and making friends and building this whole community. And I think
our Discord community has exploded almost exponentially since Pikmin Bloom came out. Not that most of those people are active. Come on, guys. Talk to us. Communicate. This communication's number one. But hey, I'm glad they're all in there. Of course, I really wish that we had gotten some responses from the people who are going that hard into it, because that's a side of the game that you and I haven't gotten the chance to see, because playing it at a relatively normal pace, I think the expected pace of this game, we haven't been able to see too much of it, even in the week and a half since it launched. But there is more to the game. There are more kinds of Pikmins we haven't unlocked. There are presumably other things we haven't unlocked. I still don't fully understand a lot of the systems in the game, like unlocking costumes, expanding your Pikmin's friendship level. I don't even understand that, even though I've been playing for 2 weeks. So there's more to learn.
I think that the problem, though, is like the costumes, the friendship level is ultimately like a very passive systems. Just as you do expeditions, the friendship levels go up. You know, sometimes you just find the Pikmin who have the costumes on and things. Same with the postcards, same with a lot of this stuff.
Yeah, the postcards.
It's a kind of a fun idea of getting postcards from just. I've gotten postcards from like literally around the world, because I've added a lot of people just through that video. So that's been cool. But again, ultimately, it all funnels back to this feeling of, even when you're not playing Pikmin Bloom, you're playing Pikmin Bloom. The game is counting your steps, things are happening, and whether or not you want to engage with the things happening or not is up to you. Again, it's a lifestyle app. And I think for me, that's kind of where I leave it. I do plan to continue to play this game passively, but I certainly don't see myself really investing a concerted effort into it.
100%. I mean, I will be following this game again. I also think I'll be playing it passively. I still enjoy opening it up once or twice a day. I turn it on when I'm walking from my car to class, just to plant a couple flowers, to grow a couple Pikmin, whatever. I'm not necessarily excited about engaging with either of those things, but I do think there is a possibility that I enjoy it more once more variety is unlocked through leveling up. I can hope and pray that I will continue to pay attention to the game as updates come out. I mean, there will be updates to this game. How substantial they are was yet to be seen. But I'd love to continue keeping my eyes on this game, but I'm not excited to. I don't think this game leaves a great first impression. And my main thing that I was coming down at the beginning is where I don't think this is the direction the game should have gone, is this doesn't really help the Pikmin series. I think that's where I come down on. I think it being underwhelming and kind of just being basic, I don't think creates a lot of Pikmin fans. Of course, it is probably already the best selling Pikmin game, which is of course an expansion of the series, but I do think if this was better and more interesting, it would have been much stronger for the Pikmin series going into the future.
I think that's a good point. I mean, ultimately, just having a Pikmin game on the App Store like this is
true.
The exposure that the Pikmin series needs. And I really do not doubt that it will convert into, whenever Pikmin 4 eventually comes out, a stronger environment between 3 Deluxe, between Bloom, especially if there's some kind of cross-pollination there between Bloom and Pikmin 4. I think that the game will serve what I think is kind of clearly its intention, which is just marketing the series better. But yeah, I'm not disappointed. I'm not over or underwhelmed. I'm just whelmed. I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
It's a cute game. It tracks my steps. The AR camera is fun. The Pikmin are cute as usual, but that's about where it ends.
Yeah.
Is it as good as Pokemon Go? Sorry, Monkey Balls, but I don't think so. They're very different experiences, but even in the context of what each is trying to accomplish, I don't think Bloom accomplishes its goal as well as Pokemon Go accomplishes what it's trying to achieve.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But again, if you want to share your thoughts, join the Discord, leave a comment.
Do it.
Things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
We'll be back with plenty of other great Nintendo coverage. Maybe even a review of Pikmin 1 on the GameCube. It's been percolating.
Oh, okay.
But we'll talk to you later. Thanks so much for watching. See ya. Yeah.